We live?
Yes, normally. So
Okay.
can somebody check with the device?
Yeah, I see it. We're on.
Okay, good. Thanks.
All right. Call to order the May 2021 Académie Lafayette Board of Directors meeting. I believe we have a quorum. Everybody's here. We'll just jump right in. We had a modification to the agenda. We're going to move the Finance Committee report, item number 9, to number 5, and just move everything down 1. So right after the PTO report, we'll do Jackie's Finance Committee report. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
All right, Michael moved, and who was at the second? Harriet?
Yeah.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, agenda is approved. I think we did have someone sign up for stakeholder comments. So hold on, let me double check. Is it Mr. Anderson? Are they on?
It's Ms. Anderson.
Oh, sorry, in the email that they sent it.
I know, it's okay.
Sorry.
That's all
Jamie,
right.
all right.
Yeah.
We have 3 minutes, but that's not concrete. So
Okay.
Just introduce yourself and then let us know what you're talking about.
Okay, great. I'm Jamie Anderson. My 5-year-old will be starting kindergarten there this summer. We're both very excited. I appreciate you letting me talk today. I would like to talk about masking kids at school, especially young children. I have some concerns about that, and I'd like to just kind of talk about my experience and what my concerns are. So I have 2 daughters, they're 5 and 3, and they've spent this last year going to Westport Montessori. Westport Montessori has not required masks for children. It's been a really great experience. They've had no problems. They've had no illness for the students or the teachers. So my 5-year-old has actually not ever worn a mask. We haven't needed to put one on her. She's even gone to school with some of the kids from Académie Lafayette, because when you all weren't in person, there were days when they would join Westport Montessori for classes. So some of the research about kids wearing masks is kind of concerning to me. There seems to be some evidence of increases in skin infections and sinus infections, upper respiratory issues, lightheadedness, headaches, and increased heart rate. And masks also decrease the development of their immune system. And it gets in the way of the social and emotional connection and development, which is critical, especially for young children. Young children don't have the ability to tell you when there's a problem, when they're not feeling right, when there's something going on, they're having heart issues or they're having headaches or lightheadedness. They're not necessarily going to be able to tell you that, or tell you that they think it's because they need to take the mask off. So that concerns me. The World Health Organization and UNICEF have both expressed concern and have advised against masking children 12 and under. My daughter is a very anxious, sensitive child, and introducing her to a new school and a new teacher and new students and having to wear a mask 7+ hours a day, I'm just really afraid of what that's going to do to her socially and mentally and also physically. She has allergic dermatitis, and her doctor has told me that wearing a mask will exacerbate that problem for her. So I have concerns on a number of different fronts about that. The mayor is actually going to be lifting the mask mandate for the city of Kansas City at the end of the month. I'm really hoping that Académie Lafayette could do the same. I know my daughter better than anyone knows her, and I would like to be the one that makes the decisions for her about her health and her safety and her social and emotional needs. I think it's important that, that we move forward and we give parents back the right to make those really important personal decisions for themselves and their children and their families. Thank you for listening.
All right. Thank you very much for your comments and your concerns. We will take them under consideration. Although I will say that typically, that's not really a board decision, I guess, when it comes to that. We have a task force, a COVID task force that usually addresses things like that. But that being said, I have a strong feeling that by the time next fall rolls around, we probably won't be having a mask mandate. But that's just my own personal opinion, not any
Sure.
statement from the board. So, but thank you very much
Is there-
for your.
I'm sorry, just one more question. Is there a way that I could address the COVID task force? Do they allow people to speak at their meetings?
I don't know, but you could reach out to Mr. Mbang and he could discuss that with you.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
Send me an email and I have no problem inviting you to address the task force.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Well,
All right, thank you. All right, approval. Next item on the agenda is approval of the April meeting minutes. Hopefully everybody had a chance to review those. And if there are any comments or questions, please speak up. Otherwise, we'll entertain a motion to approve the April meeting minutes.
This is Gwen Poss. I approve the meeting agenda.
The agenda or the minutes? You're on mute still. I read your lips, but
I apologize. The April meeting minutes.
all right, I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Michelle.
All right, motion is second. Any comments or discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, meeting minutes are approved. PTO report, Alonda or someone
Sarah
else?
Clark.
All right, Sarah, take it away.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. It is actually Alonda's birthday tonight, so she's taken the night off and asked me to speak on her behalf. So happy birthday, Alonda. The PTO is organizing Field Day for all 3 campuses on May 28th. We will provide socially distanced and outdoor activities for each age group. We're excited to be able to have this end of year celebration for our students. There are also several new items that we're considering for next year, including a back to school picnic, as conditions will allow us to gather as a group. Family Feud is an activity that we are exploring the opportunity to do either online or in person. We have done bingo in the past and other activities, so this we feel would be a great family-centered activity. Also, we're initiating a committee, New Belongings, that's allowing us to match experienced parents with incoming parents to make sure that they feel connected to the school, and bringing them information about what our school does and any questions that they might have about various things like uniforms or how classrooms enter and exit the building, those sorts of things. We're also preparing a list of positions with the PTO board where people are leaving, so those positions that we'll need to fill next year, and we will post that information on the PTO website so that those who are interested know what's available to participate in. And finally, we're excited to say that the Committee for Evening in Paris is looking at options for bringing back Evening in Paris as one of our largest fundraisers in April of 2022. So please stay tuned and look for more information about that exciting event. Thank you. That's all I have tonight.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody have any questions for the PTO? Nope. All right, sounds like we are hopefully getting back into the swing of things here this summer and next fall. So look forward to that. Finance Committee, Harriet. I'm sorry. Yeah, Harriet and Jackie. Sorry.
Thank you for making those adjustments. And of course, the first thing we do while Mr. Bang is getting to my pages is we looked at April accounts payable. Again, all of our DESI payment sheets. Prop C, our year-to-date actuals and forecasts for revenues, expenses, and our forecasts for the bottom line after debt service, and then some general updates. So when the finance committee meets, it's a long meeting, and we go over very specific and all of the detailed financial reports. And in April, there were a few things that came up in accounts payable before Harriet asked for a motion to approve. The annual parking lot fee that we pay to Trinity for the use of the parking lot for Cherry Campus. We just pay that annually. It's $7,500 a year, so it's easier to do that than put it out monthly. Substitutes between the two agencies that we're using was a little over $10,000 in April. Bus routes increased to $30,000. We were about in the $19,000 range. We had 3 months of food that showed up that we needed to pay, and that's also in April. The COVID testing for April was a little over $6,500, and we received the 400 Chromebooks that we're using ESSER 2 funds for that amounted to about $109,000, which gets us very close to having each student have access to a Chromebook in the school and for testing and certain times that they need to use them. So that's those were the highlights and the questions I got from the committee. If anybody else had anything, I didn't get an email.
So moved to approve accounts payable. This is
All right,
very,
motion. Is there a second? Who seconded? Sorry.
I second it,
Second,
Kelly
Marvin.
Beckett.
All right, who wants it? Marvin or Kelly?
It doesn't matter.
All right. I'll put Marvin on the record for this one. You can do the next one, Kelly. All right. Any discussion or questions about the accounts payable? All right. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Motion carries.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is we've talked about the enrollment budget to actual. So the next slide, and that hasn't really changed. As you can see, we've been under all year, and obviously will remain that way through May. So it's about 60 students under budget. We've discussed that in previous months, and that was part of the shortfall in our budget to actual in terms of enrollment rather than just the dollars per student. Okay, next one. So here's our basic formula dollars. You know, you all get the actual DESI sheets, and you can look at those. But as you can see, in April, the per pupil basic formula went up to 82.67. That was about 2.5% increase. And we use that plus the Kansas City public school local tax to estimate the year end per pupil amount to be about $8,500. So that's how we came to those projections. So as you can see, a great increase and change over the last 10 months. Okay, next. So revenue budget to actual, as you can see, some months were bigger, and those months that you see were when we received some ESSER funds, just timing. But year to date, budgeted revenue is under budget because of the ADA, and we are going to be okay year to date, but there are some things, if you can see in March, we were way under budget. And part of that is because typically in March you would see the EIP revenue coming in, and that was a little over 100,000. So it's not coming in this March, and so corresponding decrease in expenses too. But that's one of the biggest drivers of why March was not on budget. Okay, next one. Expenditures budget to date. This saves us from the previous slide as we've continued to control expenses. The three largest categories is salaries and benefits, and of course our transportation and some operational management of the buildings, and then food service, and then PTO expenses were under budget. And so those are the driving forces for us to help get us to the end of the year without a deficit that we'd projected earlier on. Okay, next. Okay, this is a summary of all of the detail that you've received so that we can look at the forecast, the budget, and the variance. So we can look on the left-hand side at the forecast. So the revenue forecast is a little over $14 million and expenses a little over 13 million. And we're still working on reports to capture the in-seat attendance. So if you remember a few months ago, we had decreased our ADA, number one, due to enrollment. Number two, we weren't sure, it was difficult to combine the seated and then the remote attendance. So we're really working on that. With this week, we'll probably come up with a closer number because that may help our ADA go up with the seated attendance. So I'm really working on that. Really impacts the remote learning. If you remember during remote learning, there were a couple of assessments a student had to do, and then they got 94.5% attendance. But when they come back into the school, all of those hours are gone, and then you start doing the actual seated attendance. So that's what we're still working on. And again, those expenses are under budget by a little over almost $900,000. And that was the cost savings from some of the remote learning, salaries and benefits, transportation, and food service. So operating revenues over operating expenses before debt service is $477,000. And that was a net difference that has improved over our budget. And of course, there were ESSER funds that we hadn't anticipated, but were able to both use and get revenue for. So then we have our annual debt service is $358,000. So that brings the total expenses to 14 million, which is revenues over expenses is about $119,000. If you remember a few months ago, it was a negative. It was as low as a negative 100, it was negative 900,000, 600,000, because we had absolutely no idea what was happening with the basic formula. So it's a big swing and a great swing. We budgeted to be about flat at $3,400. So this looks like it's still a moving target because of the attendance data and the issues that I was discussing. The only other outlier might be that we have used our ESSER 2 funds and we use them appropriately. Now we need to turn them in and get reimbursed, and we believe that will come before the end of June. So any questions on that? Okay, next one. So now we're still really looking at the preliminary budget that we gave to in April, and we're looking at staff. We're looking at summer school as we're getting some of that trued up and getting some more enrollment. The intent to returns are determining our starting enrollment, even though we will be opening that up pretty soon. Summer school is really crucial again this year, and that means that when parents sign up for summer school, we're really hoping that they attend the sessions that they've chosen, which is just the few weeks before the 4th of July and the few weeks after. So currently our forecast is based only on the current information we have and the assumption that we are completely going to be getting $8,500 per pupil. That's what leads us into the carryover for our next year. And as I said earlier, our final revenue is still in flux until we look at those in-person hours. And we had asked DESE to pay us a little more conservatively on ADA, and we may true that up. The other thing I wanted to mention was again that we spent $109,000 on the 400 Chromebooks that we just received, and we're hoping to get the ESSER 2 funds before the end of June, which would correspond to the expense that happened within this school year. So we're cash on hand still remains at 2.5 months, which is great. And we're still, we'll have more updates for the budget for the June meeting. Any questions? Okay.
Sorry, I was on mute. No questions at all? All right.
You know, how many, or are you going to talk about this maybe in the president's report? How many have indicated they're coming to summer school so far?
I don't know if that's in Mr. Bang, the
So
last
far we
time.
have 740 around that
Nice.
so far.
Good. Thank you.
Well,
All right. No further questions or comments. That might have been one of the fastest finance reports I've ever done.
Makes up for last month, right?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. All right. Moving along. Development committee report. Michelle.
Celia, you want to, we got Celia with us. You want to jump in?
I will. Good evening, everyone. Just want to let you know, so we are working to create and develop the calendar of events for the upcoming school year and seeing what partnerships and grant opportunities that are available that will help for the upcoming school year. We're also developing material content that will address confidence and positivity throughout any of our AL materials. So we're giving it a fresh direction for the upcoming school year. We've also been meeting with our foundation partners and identifying the upcoming opportunities, as well as how they can support AL through our struggles and our achievements. So it's been a balance between both. So it keeps it pretty simple here. Michelle, do you have anything else to add?
No, nothing else. I guess just, I know you have a final ask going out for this year pretty soon, like this week or
We're
something.
just in the final stages of figuring out which kind of direction we're going to go with it.
Yeah, so
we're
which is
just doing
awesome.
that.
Did we do the Musketeer March, or is that something you have to be in person, or how's that?
Yeah, I think we're going to push it out a little bit since we are doing it in, in person, and we're kind of just getting back.
Okay.
But we are going to be doing it. It might even be earlier than we did it normally. So I think it's going to be like maybe in the fall, depending on what activities we have going on.
Okay.
And what's cool is if you do look at, when you look at the budget, you can see the deficit in development, and you can identify quickly, okay, we didn't have EIP and we didn't have the Musketeer March, but we're still not even down quite as far as like those two usually bring in, which is, if you're trying to find a bright side to to a down year, that was pretty good. So there has been some good fundraising outside of that, but that deficit is pretty much identified by those two events.
Did we not have a contract or a thing with somebody to do Musketeer March, or am I crazy?
No, you're not. We do have it, and they have it. They've actually reached out. So whenever we're ready, they're going to be giving us, it's like a credit, I believe, that we have with them because we canceled with them last year.
Okay.
So yeah, we do have that. Thanks for asking.
All right, I think that's all we've got.
All right, governance committee.
You want to do the first one, John? I'll take the other two.
Sure. All right. So as you guys should be aware, every 2 years we elect, we have an election for the board officers, which will be at our June meeting, and the term for the new officers will take effect with our calendar year, fiscal year of July 1. And so usually in May, we take nominations for the board officer positions, which are the president, vice president, and secretary. And so what we talked about a couple of years ago was to try to have a succession plan to where the vice chair kind of rolls into the president role and the secretary rolls into the vice chair role, just so that it makes it a lot smoother. So I know we kind of discussed, or I think we discussed anyway, that I think Michael is the vice chair right now. And we talked about having Beth also. I guess, did we talk about it? I can't remember.
Not at a board meeting, no.
Okay. All right. So I guess I talked with Michael and Beth, and I think what they wanted to do or preferred to do was to for Beth to be the chair and Michael to stay vice chair or president, however you want to say it. And they could kind of act as co-chairs, I guess, if you will, and then we'll entertain nominations for a secretary position. So if there's any questions, if that wasn't confusing, unless anybody else is interested in throwing their name in the hat for any of the officers.
So is Beth going to be the chair?
Yes, it'll be Beth, the chair, Michael. Well, if they're elected next month, but we'll nominate Beth for president, Michael for vice president today, and then whoever throws their name in the hat for the secretary position.
And Michael's, my screen, Michael's okay with not becoming president.
I am.
Yep. I don't want to speak for him, but yeah.
Okay. I like Michelle Markham to be nominated for that secretary position.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to nominate someone else for any of the positions, or for throw their own name in the ring for any of the officer positions? All right. All right, hearing none, I guess that will be the nominations, or the nominees, I should say, for the board officers for the terms to start July 1 of 2021 for their 2-year terms. So at this point, we have Beth nominated as president only, Michael nominated as vice president, and Michelle nominated as as secretary, and then we will vote on it next month. And if somebody decides they want to, I think we could probably accommodate if somebody else wanted to nominate themselves or nominate someone else between now and when we vote. I know that's not normally our policy, but just trying to keep it open and fair, unless other people disagree and are just fine with this being the slate and we move forward.
I think you should leave it
All
open
right.
for a little while, John, so maybe somebody will change their mind.
Okay. Yeah, we can leave it open for a couple of weeks, I guess. And then I guess just let everybody know. We'll communicate with the board, and then we can discuss it at next month's meeting when we vote on the officers.
And Michelle, just to confirm, you're interested in the position?
Yes, I was just going to say thank you for the nomination, Harriet. Yes.
Yeah, I guess I should have. Thanks for that, Beth. I should have confirmed that Michelle was okay with that nomination.
Unless I don't get voted, and then I'll say I didn't want to do it anyway, but that's, no, I'm kidding. No, I accept the nomination. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. Any other questions or comments on that topic? If not, we will move on to the next item.
Just a reminder, we talked in our last meeting that as of July 1, we will have 4 open board spots. So we are still actively having conversations. We don't have any key individuals yet that we have identified could join the board. So I think we anticipate we probably won't fill all of those spots by July 1, but we think it's more important to identify the right people as opposed to really quickly. But please do, if you find anyone that you think is interested, please email myself, John, and Marvin, who are on the governance committee, and take the lead in identifying new board members. So we appreciate everybody's help in getting the word out on that. As everybody knows, we are coming to the end of the parent elect process. So I think Wednesday that closes, so parents can have the opportunity to vote on 2 candidates. Our parent elect candidates have impressive backgrounds. I think everybody in your email, you have sort of their resumes.
I was very impressed.
But
Yeah, they're
joining us later this month.
I didn't, we lost you at the end there, Beth.
Oh, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Any questions about new board members or parent elect?
Did everyone look at, we had talked a little bit about a list that we were reviewing that someone I think had sent out, and I don't know if everybody took a look at that, but of previous board members. So I just didn't know if anybody, do you want us to send any thoughts and comments to you, Beth, or to you, and like, where do we send those?
Send them to myself, John, and Marvin, and the 3 of us are the ones who sort of take the lead, since we're on the governance committee, of reaching out to potential individuals. So yes, if you see anybody on that list, or you just know somebody personally that you think would be a good fit, definitely let us know.
Cool.
Final thing is, you all should have gotten the confirmation on the calendar that June 26th has been confirmed as our board retreat. I'm going to let Gwen, she has been awesome in taking the lead and helping us figure out sort of potential agenda. Before I hand it over to Gwen to talk about that, we did want to pose the question of the potential of doing it in person, but allowing those who want to come in person, be in person, those who prefer to stay virtual. I know Mr. Mbing would be virtual. I believe he is out of the country at that time. But to give people the option, I know we've heard from lots of individuals, they're kind of tired of the Zoom world. So I'm just curious if you all could just sort of put in the chat, maybe anybody, if you're interested in person or virtual, if there's enough of us, we'll look into, is it possible to do it? We have to sort of figure out what the technology would be to make sure we can have seamless conversations with in-person and virtual. So if there's enough interest in the in-person, then we'll look into what that technology could look like.
Since I don't like to use chat, I'm just going to tell you, I want in-person. And then I also would like for us to have a board meeting in person. And so since this is the governance committee, can we in July or June, when we do budget, meet in person? We can all mask up. I don't care, but I would like an in-person meeting. If anybody wants to come by Zoom, they can come, but I would like to see you all in person.
I agree with Harriet.
I agree with Harriet.
Yes, I do. I agree. I think it would be really nice to move in that direction. What we have to figure out, and I don't know what the answer is, we have to figure out how to still allow for the virtual so that people who prefer to be virtual can be. And I understand there is sort of a technology class at the high school. So we think we should ask our high school students to set this up for us and figure out how to do it. So I'll follow up later with Mr. Mbing to see, are there maybe some students who could help figure out how that could work. But that's the question. I think if we can figure out the technology, there's probably not a downside to doing it.
So,
Yeah, I think if we can get it, the location and the technology piece all coordinated so that we can still live stream our board meetings and allow for virtual, we could use our retreat as the test run and then maybe back to school, that could be our board meeting in person, and we could alternate meetings, or shoot, maybe by that point we can meet in person every month. I don't know, but I just think that that gives us a month and a half to figure it out, the location and the logistics and technology and things like that. And then after the summer, we can go forward with in person, because I think it's been over a year now that we haven't seen each other in person. So,
And one of the nice things about the Zoom thing is I'm in Louisiana right now. So,
right.
you know, and I can join the meeting. So that is a nice thing. But if I'm not in Louisiana, I'd sure like to come up to Armour and go to the meeting. So
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah. I think going forward, it's just, we need to take advantage of what we've been doing, because I think it does add a level of convenience. Plus, you know, it allows people to see our board meetings in their convenience of their own homes, or even later if they want to watch it later. So I've always, you know, I spoke about this before, I've always been an advocate for having live stream board meetings. And so now that we have it, I don't want to get rid of it. So that being said, I think we do need to be in person. I mean, I vote for an in-person meeting. I just want to make sure that we have an option for those who don't or can't come in person to still participate. But we'll figure it out. It's not that hard. It's just the little things we got to figure out in the location. And, you know, who knows? I don't know what the weather's going to be like, but we can have an outdoor board meeting if you want to try to brave that in the summer. But we'll talk about it more, and we can shoot emails out. If you guys have any other ideas, free to email in between now and the next meeting. But
easiest way is giving every board member a Chromebook, and that's it.
Oh, right. Our teachers do this every day.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you have we give everybody Chromebooks, and then we my computer will be connected to the board. I think we did it once. It's connected to the smart board, and you can see, everybody can see everyone, and the person who is remote can see everyone. So that's the easiest way. I mean, the more artisan way. You can have a more sophisticated, maybe we need to investigate what is the most sophisticated one, so that we can streamline it directly on YouTube or something like that.
Well, I think we would just do it like we do now. If everybody has their own Chromebook or computer, you know, we can bring our own computers, to be honest. If we're just connecting to the same Zoom call like we are now, we just happen to be in the same room, if that's what you're talking about.
Yes, but we can give you Chromebooks for that.
Okay.
So
yeah, I think that actually seems pretty easy.
Right. Yeah. So I think clearly there's a lot of interest in doing in person. So we'll sort of figure out the logistics of what that could look like, to where we have anybody that wants to be in person on June 26th can come in person, and anybody that wants to be virtual can stay virtual. And with that, I will turn it over to Gwen just to share the thoughts for the agenda. And a huge thank you to Gwen for sort of taking the lead on helping us to figure this out.
Thank you, Beth. I had an opportunity to connect with Shireen Williams. As you recall, Shireen worked with us on a previous retreat and talking about data and the work that we want to do with data and a dashboard. And it was just kind of a big conversation that led to visiting about our retreat on June 26th. And in that conversation, we talked about it's probably time that we need to have an opportunity to kind of get together, whether it be in person or in person / Zoom, whatever that might mean, for some team building or relationship building, where we need to connect a little bit on who we are as a person, what we bring to the board, and what we have as far as our organizational input that we bring, our expertise. We need to look at revisiting our mission, vision, and strategic plan, just kind of bringing back that to the forefront. Having clarity about our board and staff role responsibilities, what does that look like? And then clarity on our committee roles and responsibilities. So having that conversation about who should be on the committee. How does our work on that committee align to the strategic plan? And then how do we share that work out and for our board to have that conversation? And then helping our board again, what questions should we be asking in that role and responsibility? Also, we need to look at work on data and what kind of data drives our decision making on this board. We need to bring in, as you know, we just updated our diversity, equity, and inclusion. And how do we capture that in our data? How do we analyze our data and not looking at just the academic data? I put in kind of that agenda, like, do we need some kind of a survey to capture our culture when looking at that data? And so really more about what our committees are doing, what should we be focusing on a month-to-month basis, what data do we need to capture in our dashboard, and then what questions and tools should we be using to examine that data. I know that was a lot and maybe too much for the 3 hours, but I felt like that if we had a foundation or kind of a baseline in our retreat for that conversation, then in our conversation with Shireen that Beth and I had, we may want to think about board meetings and having little mini sessions every once in a while about where we're at with our data and how we ask questions. So that's kind of what I've kind of put together for that 3 hours. We might want to think about, I shared with Beth and John in my review that some kind of a survey that we might want to consider sending out ahead of time to each of us about what we think would make our retreat successful and what would make that retreat successful for me personally. And then what do we think are those 3 most important goals for the retreat? I think that would help us all with some ownership and some buy-in regarding our 3-hour time together. Beth, John, anything that you would like to add or?
No, I mean, I think that is exactly right. I mean, I think in my mind, our biggest framing question for the coming year is using data in our equity work and getting really clear around what we're looking at and when, because I know we sort of randomly come up with, gosh, it would be great to see this, or it would be great to see that. It'd be nice to have just a strategic way to really identify what is all of that we're looking at. So I'm excited for the conversation.
Yeah, no, I think the tentative agenda is good. We kind of talked about it a little bit in the governance committee. I think it covers a lot of things, but it's not overly extensive to where we're going to be exhausted. I think it's good. It's a good agenda, and I think particularly the piece about team building. And I think it would help us get to know, especially the board members who are newer and are not, they're more community members and not parents. I think it would be a good way for them to get to know the rest of the board. So I think that's something that I mentioned this in our governance committee meeting. I think that's something that we've kind of taken for granted since most of historically has been parents or former parents or people who kind of know each other. And so we need to do that at every retreat, I think, going forward, is just have some sort of team building camaraderie type exercise. So looking forward to it.
Any other comments, thoughts? I think our next steps will be to, I will plan to reach back out to Shireen regarding our thoughts. And then as Beth indicated, just figuring out the technology and how we could do that agenda retreat, that 3 hours to accommodate virtual and in person.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right. Diversity Committee, Kelly.
Hi, good evening. Gosh, our diversity committee, we've been very busy, should I say. Last month in April, we actually had, and correct me if I'm wrong, did we have 2 parent series, Beth? They were so good. They were so good. I was kind of in the second one, but we had actually 2 parent series. The last one was a really good one as well. I caught the very end of it, but it was on the Kansas City Star's article on their own bias. And it was a really good article. If you guys have not read that, I'll send it out to you. It's a really great article. So we have really been ramping up our parent series, and Lisa Benson has been facilitating that and working with Beth and Carlos in making that happen. So they've done an excellent job to actually have 2 in 1 month. So we are scheduled to meet again this month, and hopefully we can work on bringing some other parent events or parent series as well. I've been, Lona has actually taken over the Belongingness Committee, for which the lady that spoke about the PTO today, we are really partnering with them to try to come up with a experienced, if you will, parent with a new parent to help guide those new parents, when it comes to them first coming to Académie Lafayette, and just kind of showing them the way. So we're trying to actually develop maybe a small 1-pager partner, and also partnering with Robin King at the parent orientation at the beginning of the school year to kind of help those parents that are not very, are not engaging or not in specific groups and things like that, to kind of help them navigate throughout the year. So excited about working, with the PTO committee in that, and even developing some events. I believe some of the events that were talked about for the kids' activities at the end of the year are some of the things that the Belongingness Committee is trying to help facilitate and help engage, other parents in as well. So looking forward to that. I think we have to get back on track too. There's some things that we need to follow up with Mr. Bang with, conversations in regards to how are we handling racism in the classroom and those types of things. And hopefully we will be able to engage and review some of that in our meeting this month. But those are just some of the things that the Diversity Committee has worked on. I know we were talking about hopefully having 2 additional teachers join from the other 2 other campuses. So I'm excited to hear if we have those two teachers to help us engage. So that's Mr. Bang or Beth, do you have anything to add or?
Oh, just in our recent conversation with parents, we also shared with them a recap of what the Diversity Committee has been focused on over the last year, and that went out in the newsletter as well, but I'll post it in the chat for anybody that wants to just sort of see that overview. And we asked parents just for their thoughts on, are we missing anything? Are there other things that we can be doing? So it was a really good discussion that will continue to help guide our work as we deepen our diversity, equity, and inclusion work.
And I do want to mention too that I've had a couple of parents reach out, which I have not brought to Mr. Banks' attention, but I'll just mention it right here because I think it's definitely something that we need to have conversation on. But it's talking, I had a parent reach out in regards to transgender, GLBTQ groups. How do we, as a diversity committee, handle that type of thing? So I'm looking to engage more with our, diversity committee and hopefully talking about bringing that into the conversation as well, as I've had several parents reach out in regards to that topic as well. So I know there's some of that, those parents are in the school. We may not know about it, but there are. And so just trying to engage in that conversation too and see how we can help support those parents as well. So that's it for the diversity committee.
Beth, do you mind sending that link in email to everybody?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments? Any other notes for the diversity committee? Kelly or Beth?
No.
All right. Great job, guys. I think that's something that's very important, and I'm glad to see that we are being very involved in moving forward. Hopefully we continue the momentum. All right, head of school.
Robin,
Hello. So this first graph is just an update. I had noticed there was a mistake last month, so I just corrected this. It doubled the number, so it's okay. So I just wanted to show you that update.
So what am I looking at?
This is the number of withdrawals for kindergarten, first grade this year, and the number of enrolled.
Okay,
during the school year.
during the school year. I'm looking at two different, is one for one school and one for the other?
No, this is a combination of both campuses. So
Okay,
the
but
first,
in, so, okay, oh,
so the
wow.
first two columns where it says withdrawal at the top, and then
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I'm being stupid. Okay,
okay, you got it, girl.
Yeah. okay.
All right.
So we got, for kindergarten, it looks like we brought in more kids than Drew. Is that what I'm
Yes.
looking at?
Right. And last month that was incorrect. It was doubling. So I wanted
Okay,
to for you.
all right.
Calm everybody's fears now. And this right here, this is for next year. So this is for the incoming kindergarten. So these are my enrollment numbers updates. For our Cherry campus, we're at 106 and actually update 107 now. That is actually over. And then Oak campus, we're at 102, offered 3 seats today to get us to 105. And then underneath that, because that was just the kindergarten, underneath that is our pre-K, we're at 8, and high school, we're at 5 for our outside seats. So those are our totals.
Remind me, what's our capacity in kindergarten?
210,
110?
210,
10.
Right, yeah, 210.
115 each.
Okay.
And that's why I include the pre-K in that count that are coming in. All right, next slide, unless there's any other questions.
No.
So just wanted to give you an update on our returning 9th grade and our returning 10th grade. So right now we have returning 30 for 9th, incoming 5, so that gives us about 35. We do have 1 complete application, and not returning is 47.
What does incomplete mean?
They did not complete their intent to return form.
Okay, so they would probably be included in not returning, but they're incomplete.
It just depends. There is a discrepancy between certain parents using online. I need to call that parent. I know exactly who it is.
Okay. on the not returning, those are our 47 that are graduating from 8th grade, right?
Yes.
Could we get a list or whatever where they're going?
Yes.
Because a lot of times we used to, when we went through the graduation ceremony, they'd say they're going to Lincoln, they're going to St. Teresa's, they're going to Rockhurst, they're going to Bishop Miege.
We don't do that anymore.
We don't do that anymore. Okay.
Since last year, but we almost know kind of everybody where they're going.
Okay.
Because
well,
it's
I'd like to know kind of where they're going. Okay.
Well,
no majority.
We'll give you the next month in June. We'll give you the schools that everybody's going.
Okay.
Okay.
And then
go ahead.
The incomplete in 10th grade. What does that mean?
One person did not finish their intent to return as well.
There's two, it says, incomplete.
Okay, my bad. I saw incoming. There's two.
There are two that did not, so we don't know if they're coming or going or what they're doing.
I did some investigation. I turned this in last week, but in that process, I've done some investigation, so I can update this.
Okay. And incoming one, is that incoming from out, we recruited them?
It's actually a former AL student.
Okay. So is that returning number 19 or is that returning number 20?
So it would be, a total would be 20.
Okay. I'm real pleased with the number we have for the 9th graders. I just want to say, I think that's a nice number for a second year.
Well, let's wait until, I will say, the real number is August when kids get into the classroom. It can be more, it can be less, because we have kids who are in different schools, at least few schools that want to come back to our school. So, but we don't know. And, at the board meeting of August, we'll have the real numbers.
Well, okay, September, okay. All right, and then our first ever pre-K graduation will be Sunday, June 13th, 12 noon at Emmanuel Family and Child Development Center. I'm excited. And then I was on a panelist for the impact of COVID-19 on education, a conversation about Kansas City's response on April 28th with Show Me KC Schools. Had a wonderful time there. And I have also started the advertising campaign for the months of May through July. Radio ads, online ads, TV ads, and theater ads. That's it, if there's no questions.
Well, I want to thank again Robin and all the high school team, of course, all our teachers, but the whole high school team is extremely exceptional, great team. They do amazing work. And as you see in kindergarten so far, you all know about the drop in enrollment number of kids in Kansas City or around the country. We are still on top of our budget, and hopefully by the time school starts, we will be just fine. So thank you again, Robin. We're doing the campaign also to make sure that we have more interest in our schools. So reopening, and now we have more and more students getting in. This is the funny thing is, we reserve the Wednesdays to test the MAP test, the state DESI MAP test for students online. So we bring them in small groups to test, to administer the test. And more students now are interested in coming back into the building. And I think we have very limited number now online. In high school, I think you have only one now. I've been working with Children's Mercy, and they accepted to do a walk through to see our risk mitigation for the 3 buildings, and then give us advice about how are we doing. Summer school, of course, will move to 5 days a week. Okay, the What we don't know yet at this point is whether or not DESI will accept the online option for summer school and next school year. There have been a lot of discussions in the charter school network and the Kansas City, Missouri school system about working together for an online option. But as you know, being a French immersion school, it's hard to mutualize our efforts with the other charter schools to do that. But I know that there have been some support to do something like that. However, for us, we will have to really seriously investigate and plan for an online option for next school year. So I received a question from the DESI representative in Kansas City for charter schools about whether or not we may be, we are thinking of that. I say yes, because probably we have some parents because of medical condition or medical situation will not be able to be in person. And moreover, I would say that it might be something here to stay, because I'm thinking of somebody traveling, some kids sick at home, cannot come to school, or traveling somewhere else. I mean, having the possibility to watch the class or go back to the recording and watch it might be a good thing for those kids that are in exceptional circumstances. I think the School of the Future will have to offer something like that. School culture, so the council call did a good job, interviewed the candidate, and have been organizing the election. So far, so good. And thanks to the PTO, they organized also a town hall meeting, of course, online. Everything is online now, to give the opportunity to the two candidates to address the community. So the board election started Friday, and the last day would be this Wednesday. And we will let you know about the results. And the results will be communicated to the community on the this Friday newsletter. Please mark your calendar. PreK Graduation will be held Thursday, the 27th. I'll send you an email or an invite at the Scottish Rite Temple. It's going to be a physical graduation ceremony. We limit, of course, the number of guests for each student so that we will be able to social distance. It's a huge room. You have some of you have been there before. And we had a great also track and field starting with the middle schools. Thanks to Coach Brenda and Coach Dan Board and Mr. Jay. So we're getting back more and more to normal, slowly. Student achievement, the MAP test is going well. I mean, we did it Arma, Cherry, and Oak. As I said, the online students are tested on Wednesday. The good thing is the number we're having now is that we will be having at least 95% or more participation. We will know more by the end of next week. And DESI wanted us to do every effort possible to have no more than 5% item to be determined, meaning non-tested. And the parents who opted out are very, very limited. Very few parents opted out for the MAP test. So NW results communicated for 3rd and 4th grade to parents. We're doing the 1st and 2nd grade this week for the NWA. And we will be able to share results in June once we have everything. And one thing one initiative we started, and hopefully we'll finish it by the end of the month. That's what we want. Working with the K2 to identify kids who are struggling, and discussing how to clarify our student retention. When I say retain, is repeating grade process, and who are those kids, and how do we put in place a multi-year plan to support them, starting with summer school, looking at NWA and classroom performance to develop learning progressions and curriculum and assessment during the summer school already. we have identified some teachers who will be developing for each grade level learning progressions. We will put focus on math, French, and English, but also it will be joining, having business, joining business and pleasure. Afternoon will be fun, because we don't want just to be work. Summer school should be also fun. So that's what we want to do. And it's not going to be resolved maybe in summer school alone. It's going to be an effort for a whole year next year to make sure that those kids who have been affected negatively by the online be supported, and make sure that by the time they finish third grade, all those kids are where they should be. So any question about that? So, okay, so we that's something that we'll hopefully we'll have a time to discuss it at the strategic plan, not the strategy, but the board retreat, because we were well into where we were, our goals. Now we have this pandemic right in the middle. We need to reconsider what's our goal and see how do we support those kids and each and every one, and also the social emotional dimension of this pandemic, and how do we focus on that too. Those are the part we would like to work on and make sure that all these kids be where they should be as soon as possible.
And I'll say I'm glad to hear that focus, that we're not just sort of charging ahead and going right back to sort of what we did before, but really thinking about who are the kids that have the gaps, what are the social emotional needs, and how are they different than when we came into the pandemic. So I'm glad to hear that that's how your team is thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm glad all these teachers are interested in supporting it. One more thing also we're doing for summer school, we're trying to compensate teachers who will be teaching more in kindergarten and first grade, so that we have strong teachers in kindergarten and first grade. It's a tough grade, especially in summer school, and many of the teachers are really tired and do not want to teach. But I think that with this kind of system of bonus for those who are teaching kindergarten, first grade, and started, and for the others also, we should be able to have as many as possible of teachers teaching kindergarten, first grade to support those kids. Hiring. At this point, what keeps us awake is the question whether or not our teachers will get here in August. We'll be hiring people. We have very few teachers who are leaving. Those who are leaving are mainly substitute we hired during the year, or will stay home. So so we have been hiring, our principals have been interviewing and hiring teachers, and we've signed a lot of contract. Middle school, high school is over. We've hired everybody. And K5 also have been offering, and many acceptance, of course, few declines also. But the problem is getting the visa from the American consulates. Example, we have a couple we hired last year on an H-1B visa. They were not able to come because of the pandemic, and they stayed with us to come, and they requested an appointment from the American embassy in Paris, I think. The earliest date given to them is February 22, not February, April 2022, which is crazy. So at this point, we're working with our lawyers and also sponsors to see. And I hope that, because it's going to be an overall problem for the whole country, something will be done. If you know any representative or anybody who can influence a little bit, it would be good. That's our main concern.
So when I'm reading this, 4 confirmed from last year, 8 new offers, 2 accepted. How many total are we looking at?
Total teachers every year, remember, every year we grow by 5 additional teachers at least for K-5 gross normal. And then we have to replace substitute we hired this year to replace those we did not come last year. So we're talking about maybe around 10 teachers we need around that for K-5. Adding the art teachers, remember we have art in English, we're replacing them with art in French. All the holes we plugged during the school year with English speaking teachers, we are or substitute, we'll be hiring 35 teachers for that.
So.
And after this,
I'm still trying to figure out where we are from here. I have hiring and I have 4 confirmed, 8 new offers made, 2 accepted. 8 minus 2 gives me 6. Is that 6 and 4? So I'm only down 2, or what? Where am I?
So the answer is we will be fine, because if you go to this number, the numbers change. I'll give you an example. Only after I receiving this and putting it, I have teachers who accepted to come to sign that. So it's and we have another one who want to come. So it's going to be, I think this is just a preliminary. In January, in June, we'll give you a final number about it. But
okay, I just like to know, we got 10 openings. We've got 4 confirmed and 4 more that accepted, and so we're still missing 2. You need to, you've made this. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, my God, it's so confusing here. I'm going to have a committee meeting just to figure out what I'm trying to listen to.
You're right.
I just, really.
You're right. I think the principal wanted to be too detailed in this report. What we just need to know how many we're looking after now from this now. I understand what you're talking about. So at this point, what we need is around 10 new teachers coming in, and we are on track to get them.
We're on track if the consulate.
Yeah, we gotta find a rep. We need some help.
We're on track to hire them. Now, the second thing we don't know is the visa part. By the way, we thought that maybe requesting J1 visa exchange visitors for 3 years that can be extended for another year, 2 years, would be easier than H1B. I mean, we try to shift those who we applied for H1B to J1, but the information we receive is the same thing. Everywhere is a problem, and hopefully, I think that because of the education part, hopefully something will be found for it. Otherwise, it will be another year very tough to fill all this spot.
And I don't know if this is true or not, but I thought Carol Coe's daughter works for Bond. And I was wondering, maybe we could, if she does, we could call her. I think she works in Bond's St. Louis office. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Because Carol Coe's daughter went to our school. She loves her school. If we need representations, maybe we can get somebody like from Bond's office to help us.
Well, I just sent Elamon a message that he and we can get together offline, and we can get in contact. I can put him in contact with Congressman Cleaver.
Okay.
And we can see if we can use that option to help us out.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
But you might, as I said, Bond is, I know he's not, they're not in power, right, but he may also be able to help us. I don't know. Carol Coe's daughter went to Académie Lafayette and graduated from 8th grade. Okay.
Well, one more thing about this hiring, what make it a little bit complex is we are competing against many French schools around the country. And many of them are either accredited by the French government or how you say it, which means that they have a small advantage because those teachers are detached. Their status is different whether they teach in the school or ours. But I think that we are very competitive, I think.
Maybe we should go steal some of their teachers.
Yeah, I think we're competitive, and some of the decline is due to some mistakes we made. Especially me, because we sent it and there was an issue in the email. By the time they got it, it was we realized they didn't get it because the email, they were missing one letter or something like that. So we lost 2 teachers like that. Why I say we're kind of competitive, because one thing we decided also to up the relocation compensation. We used to offer $1,200 for teachers coming from outside to get here. Now we're offering $1,800. Most schools don't do that. So I think that it's going to be tougher and tougher because there are more and more French schools in the country. But I think if I look at people who accept it, we're becoming more competitive, and we're competing against schools in the West Coast. You know, when people think about living in California, would be more interesting than coming to in the Midwest, but we're fine.
Mr. Mbang, is the bottleneck only in the Paris consulate, or is it, State Department wide?
At this point, that's what the one we are aware of. The way the reason is one of those 4, 2 of those 4 confirmed from last year. They're the one who are having the same issue now and show us what they have. So I would say at this point, that's what we're aware of. One other interesting case we had during the school year. We had one teacher who went to France on vacation during the winter break, and were unable to get a visa from France. And then he decided to travel to go to the Caribbean islands, Guadeloupe or Martinique. And then fortunately, he went there and got his visa and come back to the country. Personally, I crossed him out. I thought there's no way he would be able to get it. So maybe it's in France. So one other training and collaboration we have been engaged in with the help of School Smart KC is EdFool, is an organization helping with quality recruitment for human resource. So Heather and Jean-Claude attended a couple of their sessions paid by School Smart KC, and they want to partner with us to help us with our recruitment and handling of our on that part of our human resource, and also the onboarding. We're still working with Teach for America for onboarding part. Teach for America is also supported by School Smart KC to help us. Part of the money, part of the fees are supported by School Smart KC. So to help us onboard properly our new teaching staff. So again, we're working with 2 organizations. EdFool is for the recruitment and then the hiring, and also how do we make our career web page more attractive. And then we have Teach for America for onboarding and helping our, sorry guys, helping our new teachers here to get in. I'm sorry, I have a plumbing issue. These people, I've been waiting for them until 7 o'clock. They just called me. It's a problem. So let's keep going. I'll deal with that later. Teacher recognitions. So we have a great team. Kindergarten teachers, they have met the challenge of online teaching, which is incredibly difficult with the young students. We want to recognize them for enduring multiple schedule, model changes. It has been really difficult, and they welcome back the kids full time in person. The whole time they have stayed focused on teaching and taking good care of our young kids. So we want to say thank them very much for a great job they have been doing. Also, Madam Gatera at Oak, first grade, for her overall competency, adaptability, and this is her second year at Académie Lafayette, and she has demonstrated a clear understanding of immersion, speak French to her student, and always conceptualize her message, facilitate student understanding and language acquisition, experiment different methods to teach her students and how to read. She also shares with her peer her teaching strategies. And we have our beloved music teacher, Mr. Shah. You see him here in his demonstration, and he's been doing a fantastic job with his creativity, and I've been going virtual, favor hands-on activities in these music classes, and his students enjoy his class. So, and Mr. Jang, our PE teachers, for his selflessness, humility, and all the work he has been doing as athletic director. He continues to be gracious with his time and service, volunteering for tasks without the least prompting. His engagement with students and families is positive, welcoming, and affirming. He never complains. He simply does what needs to be done happily and selflessly. He epitomizes the joy of serving others and is a great role model for our youth. I would add that he helped us also secure the MISHA affiliation for our high school, so we can compete in the MISHA network. And last but not least, Madam Liz Seeley, she helped us get the seal of bilateral literacy, and also we have an A+ program for our high school. And she has been extremely supportive to Madam Marisa Paul, doing all kind of work. She's amazing. So, any question about my report or anything about the school in general?
No questions. I just love hearing the acknowledgments of teachers. This year in particular has been such an impossible year. So if there's other ways we could recognize the hard work that all of the teachers and the staff are doing, definitely let us know. But it's great to hear just the different stories of recognition.
Yeah, we have been extremely lucky with our teachers. They have volunteered all the time and helping. I'm telling you, for instance, this committee of working on supporting struggling kids, another group of teachers helping with the technology plan, meeting after schools. We have another group working on developing the learning progressions, and we have a great team.
Yeah, no, I echo what Beth said. I love the recognition. I wish our board meetings, honestly, I think we should just make time for it. It might make our board meetings longer, but I think we should have a teacher spotlight or recognition or something at every meeting, and even a student spotlight. You can alternate it or something, but I think that gives us a connection that we may not have, especially for the board members who are community members and aren't directly related as parents. But I just think that's something that we should do. I know the other boards that I'm on have something similar, where there's a kind of a spotlight of some of the staff or teacher or other people involved, just to give the board a connection. So I think even if it only takes 5 minutes, I would encourage more of this, just to, and I can't even imagine being a teacher and dealing with 25 kids during this virtually. I mean, I got 4 in my house that I can't even keep up with. So anyway, that's all. I just want to say, definitely appreciate all the work that the teachers have done. And I love seeing the recognition, and hopefully we'll see more. I think I don't want to speak for everybody else on the board, but I think we would be okay with an extra 5 or 10 minutes every meeting, spotlighting some teachers or students or both.
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions or comments for Mr. Mbang?
John, I was just going to say that I echo the sentiments that you just shared, as well as Beth, regarding teachers. But Mr. Mbang, I posted a comment in the chat section. So, Charlie Shields, he's a Republican. He's connected to the Republican Party. He's the president of the Missouri State Board of Ed. So I don't know if we've reached out to him, but if not, John and I, we both sit on the board of directors at Truman Medical Center and have direct contact with them. So that's just another avenue that we can pursue to maybe exact some kind of pressure or get some kind of favor to make sure that we have all of our teachers in place.
Thank you. I'm trying to copy all the chat and put it so I'll be able to.
Just let me or Marvin know, and we can, make either the introduction or breach it with him, bring it up to him and see what he can do.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else for Mr. Mbang? All right, thank you, Mr. Mbang. I don't have much. We'll give a brief update from Missouri Charter Public School Association. I always get the acronym screwed up. So upcoming, so an update on legislative items. I think the House bill, or the Fix the Glitch bill that passed through the House has now gone partway through the Senate, and I think it's been modified a little bit, but it's on their calendar for this week. So I don't know what that means, if they're going to continue to discuss it or vote on it, but hopefully they don't kick it out and they approve it and then it goes to the governor before the session ends. But if you want to keep track in your spare time of those bills, it's obviously House Bill 137 and it's Senate Bill 55. If you can just you can search it on the Missouri Legislature website and monitor the progress. It looks like Senate Bill 55 is kind of consolidating the House Bill 137 with some other items, which is, I think the way I read it, they're going to provide tax credits for people to attend private schools, and also it might expand charter schools outside of Kansas City and St. Louis. I don't know, but I think that's what the initial reading looked like. So,
well, that will kill it.
Yeah, I don't know, but looks like they consolidated the Fix the Glitch legislation with those things. So
if they're going to expand the charters to the outside, that will kill our bill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so hopefully not, but we'll see. I think that's what they're negotiating, is whether to put that with it or not. But like I said, you can monitor it. Senate Bill 55, I think. If there's anybody you could talk to,
we'd rather stand alone than to be put with a charter bill that's going to expand and have it killed.
Right. So I hadn't heard it. I just literally just looked that up myself as I read the news before this meeting. So I haven't heard anything from Doug Thaman. And that just came out on Friday of last week. So maybe there's nothing to do about it, or it could be, I don't know. I figured usually Doug is up on that and will send us any information, but I can reach out to him and just make sure that that's a concern. I know there was also a bill that it looks like another item related to charter schools did pass and is ready to be signed by the governor, and there's a $5 million charter school deferred maintenance fund that they approved. So I don't know, Mr. Mbang or Jackie, if she's not here, but if you knew about that, if that's something that we want to try to take advantage of, if we have deferred maintenance that we need in any of our buildings, that's an option, I think. It's not very much money though. So with all the charter schools in the state, it's it'll get taken up pretty quick. So I don't have anything else on the legislative update. There is a Missouri Charter School conference in October. If anyone is interested in attending that, it's in Columbia, October 6th and 7th. Typically, there's people from all over the state that go to those. So if anybody wants any extra information, I can forward that along if you want to attend.
One other legislative note that is not directly related to charter schools, but does sort of relate to the diversity work that we're doing. There is also an attempt to make it illegal in the state of Missouri to teach the 1619 Project, which is New York Times sort of Black history revisited, to make it illegal to teach anything like that or Black history in a different way. And that's one of the goals of the diversity work we're doing, is to rethink how we're teaching history. So just to be aware, there are definitely things going on at the state level to try to stop those initiatives.
Interesting. Yeah, no, definitely keep us posted on that.
And we've put information out to parents to call their reps on that as well.
Okay. All right, that's it for me. Is anybody have any questions for me or any other comments for the good of the order? All right, and we don't have any closed session items, do we, Mr. Bang or Dana? If she on, I think I saw her on.
I'm here. No, I don't have anything to report at this point.
Okay.
John, just you had and Michael met with Mr. Mbang about negotiations.
We meet on Friday.
Yeah, we're meeting on Friday.
Oh, this coming Friday.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, I think I have. Let me make sure I got that on my calendar. I think I do, but
8:30 to 9:30.
Yep, I got it.
And Michael,
Yes.
have you? Yeah, this is not really, but on the building, the contracts with what?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got a meeting scheduled. I've got some times. I just heard back from a member of the committee, so we'll meet in the next week or so. I would expect to have that approved mid-month.
Okay.
And we'll certainly have information on it for the next board meeting.
And if there is 5 million, that would be a deferred maintenance type thing, maybe that we could go out and get.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely will have an update from the building committee at the next board meeting. And then the leadership committee, either we'll have a brief update in regular session and then we'll talk about it in closed session next month. All right. Anything else?
Nope.
All right.
Congratulations on almost making it through the school year.
Yeah. Almost done. Home
It's a
stretch.
crazy one.
Yeah. All right. And I think we have our Académie Lafayette track team that's involved. So I'll give a little plug for them that they actually had their first in-person meet last week. And it was very exciting to go and feel a little bit normal because it was outdoors and it was spread out, and just to feel the energy of, I don't know if you've been to a track meet before, but just the energy of a track meet that we've missed over the last year, just seeing kids and people being out there. So it was, if there's other ones to come, I encourage you to participate and go out and watch, because it's fun. Makes you feel like it's normal again.
That's good.
You have real great runners. They're just amazing.
Yes, we did very, very well.
Yeah.
So we'll probably hopefully have an update at the next board meeting. We usually do. So, okay. All right. Unless there's anything else, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. And we will see you